Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of a new podcast that I'm trying out. I know, yet another YouTube podcast, which, if you guys saw the title, is actually, I don't know if it's the title of the podcast itself or just this episode, but, this episode is just another YouTuber podcast because there's not enough of those in the world, you know? Of course, being a little facetious right there and joking, but before I get into the stuff, I do want to kind of introduce the idea of this podcast and the influence of it. A big influence for this podcast is Craig Adams, who is a great filmmaker out of New York. He does solo podcasts as well. Let me just fix the focus here on the video because it's not really working out too well. But I got the idea from him. So shout out to him. Go check him out over on YouTube, on Instagram. He's killing it right now. He just released a brand new film yesterday, and it is really, really good. Highly recommend. But so this is kind of going to be mostly a solo podcast. I kind of want to use this as a way to, I don't know, there's some things that I just want to be able to talk about that I don't want to be restricted to the 160 characters of Twitter. I don't really want to make a video about it, or I don't have the time to make a video about it. And so I think having this podcast is kind of just going to be a way for me to talk about a lot of things and sort of where my head's at, what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and kind of put that out there for you guys. That way you guys can see it. Because, I mean, before I posted the last two videos, which I'll technically the last video, because the other one was like a audio video for the I Don't Know song. But I kind of disappeared for a bit. And that was mostly just because I needed a break. I was burning myself out. I talked about this in the last video titled "It's Been a While." Go check that out on the channel. But I instead of making a video about how I'm burnt out, and kind of adding to this YouTuber burnout problem, I just kind of accepted that I was the person at fault for getting burnt out, and I just kind of decided to just go and work on it. And I'll talk about that a little bit. But sort of that kind of segues perfectly into the first topic of today's episode, which is struggles with my main channel, or of course this channel, for you guys know. I call it the main channel because I do have a second channel called Nerfed, which I do with my friends Dane and Hunter. And that's kind of like a group effort thing. But me and Dane are kind of like the two highest ranks, and then Hunter's, he started out as just an extra, and then I kind of mentioned that I wanted to bring him on as a permanent member for Nerfed. But I talked about it in my last video that I wanted to do a couple different things and try a couple different things, but every time I would go to record them, I just couldn't get through it. Example of like a gaming video, like I wanted to, I've with Nerfed, I got to edit some gaming videos for the first time in like 3 to 4 years. So like it was kind of like a different thing compared to the last 2 years of me doing vlogs and films and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, yeah, I can kind of add stuff that I've learned to this and make it better. But when I went to record it, I don't know, I just wasn't having fun. And it just wasn't really going to work out. And of course, one of the biggest things is, I talked about this way back in the channel, like maybe not last year as in 2018, but 2017. I really wanted to get behind the camera. Like, after switching away from gaming content in 2016, my goal was to start being behind the camera instead of being in front of it. And that was with My Last Day, which was my first ever short film. that was the goal. Was I wanted to be behind the camera when I wrote that. When I wrote the script for My Last Day, I was intending to be behind the camera. But obviously there were things in the script and part of the story, like the cutting the hair and everything, that I just I couldn't really ask other people to do. And it was super important, in my opinion, to the overall story of showing that character kind of breaking down and, going into that dark place that he went. And I just had to, go through with it and be the actor. Obviously, through the behind-the-scene video that I also released with it, you saw that I was still directing while being on camera, but it was like, it didn't exactly come out how I planned. And I mean, even with that, the person who was behind the camera for me wasn't the original person I was going to have replace me. I actually had my buddy Joshua. I was going to have him do it, but he ended up having, if I'm remembering right, he had a family commitment or something. He had to go out of state that he learned about last second. So I ended up having to scramble and be like, okay, I have all these plans set. I plan to record and film this video. I need to get this done. And it fell apart. Luckily, I was able to find another friend who was able to help me, and I'm very thankful for them. Shout out to Kayla. I appreciate you. But it's just been this big struggle for me of trying to figure out what I really want to put on the channel. I think at the end of the day, I do want to be able to do a variety of content and make whatever it is I want to make. Whether that be a gaming video, whether that be a vlog, whether that be a film, whether that be something in between, that's always kind of been the goal since leaving the gaming stuff, but it's just not really worked out. And at the end of the day, I am a one-man crew, so I film everything, I edit everything. If there's a script involved, I script everything. I put everything together. It's hard to do some of the ideas I have, I almost kind of want to do a Mr. Beast Sidemen Dude Perfect kind of. I kind of have always wanted to do those kinds of videos, but the problem is that the only people that I know would help me, with Dane as an example, he's the one person who, me and him have been working on this one project in the background for, I think, 2 or 3 years now. But it's so hard because he lives in England and has a girlfriend, and then I live in America, obviously, and it's kind of like, it's a struggle. And I think even then, as much as I would hate to, I was talking about wanting to go behind the camera, I wouldn't mind giving up behind the camera to fully be on screen if I had someone who could. And, the people that are close to me that I know in person that could do that, they're off in college, they're off doing other things. And it's like, okay, well, I can't really do it by myself. Because the thing with Nerfed, it's shown me, is that a lot of the good content comes from just the camaraderie of the people involved, and it's not even actual comedy. It's just, it can be one person's laugh that really sells the video. It could be one person's the way one person says a joke or something that normally wouldn't be funny, but the way they said it is hilarious. It's what kind of makes those videos more than anything, in my opinion. But I can't really do that. And, even then I kind of have thought about, okay, what about a commentary type style, the old school H3, or, even something like the Shane Dawson documentaries and stuff like that. I'm kind of just in this weird place where I just kind of want to do something different, but I don't know how. Something I'll talk about in a second is, with trends, I've done my best since switching to vlogging and filmmaking to kind of pay attention to trends more and give them a shot. You know, there was that one photography app that came out that everyone was like hopping on, and then it found out in their like terms of service they could like take your content or whatever. I jumped on that, and you know, versus like still now I struggle with Snapchat. I only have Snapchat for like 1 or 2 people and I just don't really care for it, especially this late into the game when Instagram has everything Snapchat does all in one place that I already post regularly. Did post regularly, I should say. But and then like with Vine, like at the time I didn't give Vine even a chance. I didn't even think about it. And it kind of sucks because, you know, I was very dismissive and I didn't really give it a fair chance. You know, obviously I really paid attention to the negative of when Vine closed, and then all the Viners like Jake and Logan Paul and all them kind of came over, and that didn't really help a lot of the situations going on YouTube. But I just kind of didn't give it a chance, and the most recent, I guess, iteration of a new content creation platform that's popular is TikTok. And you know, I think like everyone else, whenever, because if I remember reading right, Musical.ly and TikTok were separate, but then TikTok bought Musical.ly or whatever. But when it was Musical.ly, it was cringe. It was pretty bad. It was not good. And then once it kind of switched to TikTok, and then, you know, people like PewDiePie and everyone was kind of like giving it attention, and then you'd watch those videos and you'd be like, you know, you're obviously those things are like to make fun of them, but it's still like you're seeing like these glimpses of these content creators that have potential on this other platform, and it's like, okay, I want to kind of see what's going on. And so like I'm trying to think, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago I actually downloaded TikTok. I had TikTok on my phone because Dane actually started one for Nerfed and was posting like the social media clips over there, but I made my own and I just started kind of paying attention, and you know, for sure there's some cringy shit. I mean, there is on YouTube too. Probably this entire podcast is, but I don't know. There's a lot of creative people over there. You know, I think the thing that made Vine so popular, and TikTok, you know, with how similar it is as well, is that it reminds me a lot of the old days of YouTube at the beginning. You know, you had people just making stuff to make stuff. It wasn't about you know, getting popular or getting money or getting partnerships or sponsorships. It was just about making content that made you laugh and you just wanted to share it with people. You know, I remember one of the first projects I ever uploaded on YouTube. I think it actually was my very first ever channel that I uploaded content on. It was like probably, I think it was 2009. Hulk Hogan's, his like reality show, Hogan Knows Best. I think it was off, but like reruns were still a thing. I don't really know. But so me and my cousin Austin ended up like filming this prank. And this was when pranks were just it was before the big explosion of pranks on YouTube, but pranks were still kind of a thing that were happening on YouTube. And so we did that, and I made a show called Reynolds Knows Best, which is cringe when I think about it. But I didn't post that thinking about, oh, I'm going to get so popular. It was just, oh my gosh, this is funny. We pranked my brother. Dude, let's put it online, and maybe 1 or 2 of his friends will see and, you know, laugh at him or something. But I don't know. The thing with TikTok is that it just reminds me of that. It just reminds me of those Wild West days of YouTube where no one really cared and everyone was just making stuff to make stuff. You know, at the moment, let me just pull it up real quick. I've been, you know, at the end of the day, at this point, no matter what, I do pay attention to numbers and I do think about numbers. But that's just kind of the conditioning since 2011 when I started ZSG, which was, oh, I see NGT making money off of this, and I can do this. I can do Call of Duty zombie content. Ever since then, I've talked about this in the past where it was part of the motivation at that point, but and I try not to let it affect me now, but obviously it's conditioned from almost 10 years of doing this, where you sit there and you're like, oh man, it's not gonna, this only got 5 views. What the heck? I must be awful. But I mean, my very first TikTok, because I actually am making TikToks, believe it or not. I don't think they don't have dates on them, do they? I don't think so. But I've made what? 3, 6, 9, 12. 30 videos so far in like the 2 or 3 weeks since I've been on there. And I think at the beginning, the very first video I did was kind of like, I definitely was like kind of try-harding of being like, okay, yeah, I'm better than all these guys. I'm going to come on here and it's going to be stupid and easy. But then I kind of just was like, okay, why don't I embrace the meme a little bit? And so like that first video only had like 51 views. Then my second one had 99 and 95, 110, dipped down to 25, 28, 76. And I'm trying to think. My fourth video was the first one to ever break 100. And that was two days after starting it, which was like insane. I was like, what the heck? And I'm trying to think. Then maybe 2 days later, I had 3 in a row that went over 100. And I was like, okay. And I'm trying to think. There was this one, which is just stupid. Just absolutely stupid, but it makes me laugh. That I went to bed, or I think I took a nap for like an hour or something. And I came back to like 300 views on it. And it's weird because I don't understand how their algorithm works, because it seems that my posts that I don't put any hashtags on do better than the ones that I put hashtags on. It's weird because then I'm kind of like, so is it still going out to like the For You page, which is like their front page, or different things? Like how are people finding it if I'm not tagging it? And I mean, I don't, except for like the first 2 with my dog, like I didn't post any of them anywhere else. So, I think besides Twitter, I don't think Twitter and my Discord, I don't think anyone else knows I even have a TikTok until now. So it's kind of like, how is this happening? But that's something to kind of, I don't know. And even since then, like, I think that video kind of made me, the 300 view video kind of made me get in that mindset of, oh, okay, like, oh. But it's like, even now, like, I'm not super worried about it. It's just a fun thing. Like, if I come up with an idea, I can just film it real quick on my phone, and then just, if people like it, people like it. If people don't, I will say the one bad thing is they have a bad comment bot problem. Like, I think I've maybe gotten 5, probably 5 or 6 actual people commenting and not bots, who just like comment stuff, and every single one I just basically either reply, no you, thanks dad, no you dad, or some iteration of that. But yeah, I think a big thing is in the future, I'm trying my best to pay attention to the trends and what is kind of coming up. But this, to bring it back to the YouTube stuff, is I'm finding it increasingly difficult to. I sit there and I go on the trending page and I sit there and I think, okay, how, you know, how could I even relate this cooking video, this gourmet chef, I think those like gourmet chef videos is like the number one trending right now. How can I relate that to something I can do? I guess in some ways I could do some version of like a bad cooking, you know, kind of thing, but it's like, it's also been overdone, you know, everyone from Filthy Frank to even Jericho, Jericho, who does his shitty cooking series, you know, and it's like, it's something that I really, it's hard because the thing I always see with content creators is you should always follow your heart and your passion, but it's kind of, I'm kind of at this crossroad where I don't quite know what exact part of YouTube I'm passionate about. You know, I'm kind of looking at all four walls and I'm kind of trying to figure out, okay, which one is gonna be more enjoyable for me to make, you know? And I think a big thing is I want to do comedy based stuff, but it's like, do I do skits? Do I just, you know, do I make a Filthy Frank type character? You know, how can I do films that are like actually important and emotional when doing that stuff, you know? That's kind of a big part of my dilemma at the moment, is trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? How do? But so obviously a lot of all these topics I picked for this episode kind of tie in really well. So, you know, with that kind of said, talking about personal update, I mentioned in the last video that you know, I'm planning to go back to school, or I'm gonna go back to wrestling, and so on Monday I actually had an AccuPlacer test at the college that I'm going to. And for those who don't know, AccuPlacer test is like it's like a test you can take over like your history, writing, math, to sort of see what level you're at. So if, say, your degree requires you to take this and this math class, if you already know that stuff, you don't have to take it. So it's a nice cost-cutting measure, as well as you won't waste your time. And I think I did average. I'm not really sure. I know that I had the option of like going down to like basic math, but I was kind of like, no, you know, I finished high school doing PreCalc, so I'm going to go to PreCalc, because as much as I might not remember it just off the top of my head, if I start seeing stuff, I'll be able to remember it. And for sure there were problems where I was like, I don't remember how to do this at all, but there were some where I was kind of like, oh, I remember how to do this. Yeah, okay. And I just kind of, you know, worked through the problems. I'm trying to think. I think math was the worst one, but it still wasn't like horrible. But besides that, I've been working out a lot more. I keep punching the mic. I need to get one of those arms for the mic, because right now I have the blue snowball. Don't mind the sock. It's a pop filter basically. But I have a blue snowball. It's a nice mic. It's pretty okay. But I need to get one of those arms, because like right now it's kind of like in there. Plus I like being able to like move it. I know this is probably going to be AIDS for you guys, so I apologize. But yeah, I've been working out a little bit, building some muscle, building my cardio back up. A big thing, I work with a personal trainer, and I see him basically like once every week, and then I'll work out. In total, I work out 6 days a week, and then I get one rest day. But it's been really nice, because I wasn't a very active kid. You know, I was very much the stay inside, play video games kind of kid. And so when I was doing wrestling, it was like really rough to get into, but now that I've had this trainer who's been able to help me with, nutrition and eating right and different workouts that I, A, didn't know exist, and B, didn't really know would work for the things they do. It's been super helpful, and it's for me in my head, just because I don't really know. My brain always thought the longer you went, the better it would be. But the thing is really it's all about kind of going as much as you can in a shorter period of time, because that's going to give you better results. So like with cardio, I switch between like fast twitch, medium twitch, and then long endurance, and it's like, gosh, the fast twitch stuff is 10 times more rough than the long endurance stuff, and I get more results out of the long endurance stuff. I went from not being able to really run for 5 minutes straight to 10 to 15 minutes if I wanted to, just because I pushed myself. And I can't remember I think it might have been Gary Vee, if I remember right, or someone. If you guys know who said this, put it down in the comments below. But there was a quote from someone talking about how whenever you're about to give up, you're only at 40% of what your body can do. And so that's been a big thing. That's kind of motivated me. Every time I want to give up, I just kind of sit there and think, okay, you're only like 40% there. You can get all the way there. And I just keep pushing. Another big thing is, for any wrestling fans, the whole Becky Lynch thing that's going on has been really cool. The man and kind of how she carries herself has been really like beneficial to me and inspiring to me. Because as I've told you guys countless times on this channel, I've never been super confident in myself. Not in my looks, not in my creativity, not in really anything. But just kind of watching her, obviously it's a character, but there is truth to every character in professional wrestling. And it's like just seeing her kind of scratch and claw her way, seeing where she was to now possibly main event, being one of the first women to main event a WrestleMania, is inspiring to me, especially as a man. At the end of the day, as much as sometimes we don't want to admit it, we are very spoiled as a male, and in general as a white male. But it's just kind of seeing things from another person's perspective is really good to have, and just kind of trying to walk in their shoes a bit is, I find, really important. That's something I've always tried to do with my films and my videos. With My Last Day, I tried to use my experiences as a suicide survivor and someone who's had depression and mental health issues for most of his life. I tried to make that film so you guys would see that point of view. And then with No, it's very similar. I wanted to talk not only about sexual abuse and abuse in general, but also in males, because we don't really talk about that. That's kind of a new thing that we're kind of being comfortable with in society. And it's something that I kind of have been putting in my head of, okay, why am I so down on myself? Like, I have all these skills, these qualifications, this experience. Why am I freaking out? I'm the man. I am the man. I am good enough. I can do this. I can do this job you assign me. It's just it's a matter of getting out of my head, which is has been and will continue for the rest of my life to be a process that I have to just work through. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but I'm going to try my best to not let the lows affect me, and let the highs kind of be the good parts. I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to talk about. I will say this. I've talked about my turn of being a minimalist some on my channel. If any of my TikTok followers, the like 7 of you, are there, and you guys have been like, he wears the same stuff. Does he not wash his clothes? I do. I just have exactly the right amount of clothes that I need. So I think these shirts, I don't do the same color, but I think I have, I'm trying to think, I have one for every single day of the week, and I have enough gym shirts for every single day of the week. I have gym shorts for every single day of the week. Undies, I have a couple extra of those. The kind of workout Under Armour kind of undies for working out. Socks technically I have a lot of, but and I don't know. It's just kind of, I just kind of wanted to make a point out of that. I might actually make that a TikTok, just because I've gotten comments about that, and it's like, no, I swear I change my clothes. I swear I shower. I promise. But yeah, on that note, I think that is going to wrap this up. Again, this is episode 0 of a solo podcast. For the most part, it probably will be like a solo kind of therapy type deal like this. But I do want to occasionally bring on guests and kind of talk to them. I'm probably, I don't know how often these are going to go out. It's kind of just going to be a thing of whenever I feel like recording and can record it. But I think one of the first people I want to talk to is my buddy Dane. My fellow Nerfed member. Just to kind of, pick his brain. And I think some of the things he would have to say and his opinions on stuff would be pretty interesting to you guys, in my opinion. But with that said, guys, if you do indeed enjoy this podcast and enjoy these videos, make sure to let me know by hitting that like button and comment down below. This is a new thing. This is a very scary thing for me. But it's kind of the one idea I have for content at the moment. And I badly want to make content for my main channel, but I just am kind of still in a lump of not knowing what. So this is something that I do enjoy. I have enjoyed making, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching and or listening. With that said, my social links are down below in the description. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you did indeed enjoy and want to see more. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.